This is our second day of Math 091, Introductory Algebra. Just kind of an update. Is there anyone who missed the first day of class? Anyone who didn't get a syllabus? Anyone who lost their syllabus and would like another one? Because I got extra copies. Anyone who take a few bucks for selling them? Give them away. Very good. Welcome back. Just a few things. Let's take a look at Canvas course, and because I've got we have a daily attendance quiz that you should be taking, and a number of you did. There's a few that didn't, so I just want to highlight it here. And then I want to follow up a little bit with Math AS, and most of you are registered, but there's a few of you who haven't registered yet, so I want to kind of get you all started. And then today we won't be starting into the course content directly. I've got a couple activities for us to do that I find some students struggle with. You might not have an issue with these, but I'll bet you some of you do. And I bet you it might not be a big issue, but it might be a small issue. And so I'm going to try to get us a way to look at things where there's only two things to math. Wouldn't that be cool if there's only two things? You either go left or you go right. That's all you got. So I think, and this because this is how I do my math, is everything can almost be broken down to one of two things. And if you do this and it didn't work, then well, let's do this one. Okay, so I take the rules that usually in textbooks might be 4 or 5 pages, and I try to make them into one little paragraph of either left or right. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at, I'll switch this over. So I'm going to try with the videos just going full screen. So when we're up here on the video, it'll be full screen here. When I'm on the board, it'll be full screen board rather than a little picture of me. We'll just see. We'll see how it works. Again, and if you do watch the videos, and especially if you weren't in class and you watch the videos, I'm interested in finding out and making sure that things are coming through, that the volumes are good. I can't go back and re-record them, but I can work with it. Yes.
It's really quiet, at least at my computer. I don't know if it's like that for anybody else. It's like you can barely hear you.
Okay, for the one in the class?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I did bring another. I've got a wired mic, which might work better than the Bluetooth mic. I know I tried the webcam's mic and it wasn't picking up very good the first time. So I'll also try, I know I've got a very soft voice, but I'll do my best to try to speak up, and we'll work on that. Yeah. Thank you. And just be brutally honest, and like one guy said, I said, well, I wish I could hire a good looking actor to take my place for this, but make it more interesting for y'all. Okay, so we're going to go into Math AS. We're going to go to Canvas first, which you can get there directly by learn.maricopa.edu. Takes you directly to the Canvas for Maricopa. And if you're logged in, it logs you right in. But usually you go to the login screen, put your MEID and your password. You'll have all your courses here. So I'm going to go into the Math 91. And you come down here I'm going to change over to student settings so that I can actually walk through a few of these things and show you directly what's happening. And I think over the weekend, I try to post some videos that show you how to do these. So if you watch those, that's great. And in a while, it'll all be second nature. But this is one of the reasons I find sometimes I'll tell you, just go into modules in Canvas, but until you do it a few times, it's sometimes hard to find these things. Even when they're staring you in the face, you can't see it. At least that's how I operate sometimes. Okay, so we're going to go to modules once you come in, because that's the main place you're going to go. So the course introduction, here's the recording of the first day class. So if you missed it or if you wanted to see it again, it's right here. This is the attendance quiz I would like everyone to take. Even though I did take roll and you're marked in, that's good. I want you just to get the habit every time you attend class, whether here in person or whether you're at watching the video, you will log your attendance this way. There's just an attendance quiz. That's the word of the day so far. We might mix it up a little bit. I don't know. But it's just sort of that you've either seen enough of the video that you got the word of the day, or you were in class, you got the word of the day. So I think we had believing, right? So you click on believing, you submit it, you've just logged in your attendance. Okay. And you'll do that for every single day until we're done with the semester. And we're looking for 100%. Again, most of this will happen towards the beginning, so you can watch the videos and such. And so that's, and again, a number of you've already done this. There's maybe 4 or 5 or 6. I didn't, a few of you have not. So we want you to do that. Go back to the modules. And the second thing, and again, a number of you have done this, is what's your thoughts extra credit. And this is worth 40 points, which is 40 points. Good. It was the introductory activity. And then again, a number of you just have responded. What was it? One paragraph on what was your experience the first day? Did you like it? What you find interesting, or those kind of things. Okay. Go ahead and do that. Again, a number of you have. These ones that you type something in, sometimes it takes me a little while to get to them. I do my grading usually over the weekend, so sometimes it might be a week. So don't feel, you post it and the next day it's not graded. You don't see any points. It'll show up in the grade book as a little document, so it's telling you it's sitting there. I just haven't gotten to it, but I will. I do get things within a week. Sometimes I do get to them right away, but like today, it's just like I had all these ideas. I had 2.5 hours in between classes. Couldn't get anything done. Running here, running there. I had a meeting with this, and anyway. So, but that's the other thing. Go ahead and get in there. Again, there's 10 days to do it. It's not like real critical. Don't stress out about it, but do get it done. Because I'll get students that, and they'll do it at the end and they'll say, can I do it? I said, well, do you remember what happened the first day of class? No. Well, at least now you could watch the video again, right? So, but that's there. So that gets you the 40 points, get you started. And that's it. So after today, at the end of today's class, we are live streaming. So sometimes I forget. I was making videos over the weekend, and sometimes I'd make a great video. Oh, I forgot to start the recording. So I was talking to my computer. That was it. And then I made some terrible ones, and I was recording it. And I was going, oh, come on, I don't want the world to see that. But anyway, so I'm going to go. Hopefully within a week or two, I will just get comfortable with all of this, and I'll be able to focus more on you. I'm kind of feel conflicted now because I'm worrying about technology and stuff, but it's for all of our benefits. So when I finish, you'll see probably still under course introduction, since we haven't started thing, I'll put a recording of second day of class. So that'll be there. There'll be an attendance day for the second day. And that's pretty much it. And then what we'll do is I will add some more modules down below here as we get into unit 1 or lesson. Math AS, do they call them units or lessons? Units, thank you.
There'll be a word of the day too.
Yes, and the word of the day. Where are my? Let's see, make sure I got some good pin. Yeah, this is a good marking pin. So let's go back to full screen, or the board screen. There we are. Word of the day. Let's see. What's a nice, positive, inspiring word that someone's got for us? Or a negative, inspiring word? No.
About wisdom.
Wisdom, beautiful. Wisdom is our word of the day. Wisdom. Let's see. And yeah, I'm playing with the camera's having a little problem with focusing, because when I move forward, it focuses on me and then not on the board. So I might play with getting a fixed focus on it or something. But or if I just stand back here, there we go. It's now focused. So those on video, we welcome you to class as well, however you're attending class. So there's always like a third person, and you know, here. So wisdom is our word of the day. You'll take the quiz. There'll be 4 words. One of them will be wisdom. That's the one you want to choose. Okay. And so forth. And we'll just kind of keep rolling and moving along. So next, I just want to highlight, again, a lot of you have registered already for the course, the Math AS course. And I just kind of want to give you a little heads up to where you should be going. And if you've already started, you're ahead of things. So there's a video that I posted. And again, if you weren't registered, I think I sent you an email with a link to a specific, just how to register. So go ahead and do that. And so that you get registered for the course. And then what I do check by the end of this week, I really, I'll get more and more threatening. I'm going to come take your firstborn child if you don't register. No, I won't get that threatening, but I really want you registered because this is really the only way you can get homework done. So we go to Math 091. And this welcome screen, the other thing, I really want you to see this, and this is going to go away as of Wednesday. So, if you register on Thursday, you won't get to see the nice welcome screen. So it's a little bit, of course, you saw it in class. But so once you're registered, you'll see this, and basically where everything starts, there's these resources and stuff, but Unit 1, Introduction to Variables. Wednesday, I will start a class presentation going over the content. And let me just kind of show you how we walk through things. So we'll start off, sorry, I got to switch screens here for those at home. Here's our introduction to videos. So the student workbook is the printed workbook. And again, you may already have, if you bought it at the bookstore, you already have this. If not, you might want to print off some of these pages or download them to a tablet or something, but it's all up to you. Those are and I'll just click on it. Let's see. Oh, you can do the workbook, and then there's also the answers to practice problems, answers to U-Try. So that's kind of a good thing. And I'm not sure if you've got the workbook, whether you have the answers or not. So if not, you get them from here. But this is basically what it should look like. And if you have it printed off, where it really sort of starts is here, Unit 1 Media Lesson. The media lessons are videos that walk you through these lessons. They do a lot of the reading. When they write things down, you write things down, and you just kind of follow along. That's one way of teaching it. Some instructors require them, grade them, make sure you've done them. I leave them as a resource. If they're valuable to you, use them. If you look at them and maybe they're not, you're coming to class because you want an in-person experience, that's what we have. Okay, so it's a little bit of both things that are available. So those are all there. Okay, come back to Unit 1. So once you have that, there's the media lessons themselves. Those are the videos. So I'll just click there. And so one way is to go ahead and start watching these videos, working through the content. They kind of teach the content this way. That's one way to do it. 14 videos, and basically I've gone and learned everything. And again, our online classes, this is all they have. This is how they learn. This is their instruction. So, and I'm flexible. If you go through this and you understand the material and get your homework done and you're doing well, that is great. I'm happy. And it doesn't bother me that the videos there were better than the videos I did. That's okay. It's different. We all have different learning styles. But I'm here as well. So we've got options. Okay. I got some students who watch a few of them and it's not their cup of tea, so they don't watch the next ones. There's no penalty for not watching. They're there for you. The whole thing is to get to where we're going into the online homework. Okay. And again, this is sort of the forward way. So online homework are problems on the content, and there's a lot. There's 35. What's my goal for you to do as far as points? What did I say? Now to get to about 70% is a good starting point, but 85% you got all the points. So you don't have to try to get all the points, just get about 85% of the points. There's 100, so when it gets to 85, you got all your points. just a note, if you do go to 100%, I give a little bit of extra credit too. So for pushing through, but 85 gets you all your points. My suggestion always is because a lot of the problems, one problem, the next problem is very similar to the other one, is to work either even all the evens or all the odds. What that does is it gets you through the whole lesson in half the time. Then you can go back, and so you've seen the whole lesson, and then go back and fill in the other pieces, or don't. I mean, it's up to you. Because there's another assessment you could do that's shorter, and if you've learned the material, you might jump there first. Okay, so the homework, again, a suggestion is to work half of them, either the evens or the odds, whichever you prefer. Get all the way through the lesson, then you've got the other ones to go back and make a try on. And again, that's really all I need you to do for a unit. The other option, though, is there is the online quiz, which is not graded. It's not. I haven't factored this into your grade. It's your quiz for you to use. And a couple students have already done this, and they've let me know. They go directly to the quiz, take it, and so far 2 have emailed me. They got 100% on it. And that means you don't have to go back and do the homework. You don't have to do the other things. You understand it. Okay. Yes.
So each time you do that, you have to email you, or is that
I know because I'm all-knowing teacher. No, because Math AS will tell me. Even though it's not, it's recorded in the grade book. So what I do when I go to, because the grades will be transferred into Canvas, so I will go look and I'll see. Oh, you didn't do any homework. Oh, because you got 100% on the quiz. Boom, I'll give you all the points. Yeah. So and again, you don't even have to get 100% on the quiz, but 85% on the quiz is like 100%. Yes.
It's okay if we just opened it for a little bit just to take a look at it, and then it won't hurt. We can
No.
go back to it and everything.
Yeah. There's no time on it. You can open and close it as many times as you
Okay.
want. Yeah. You can, and again, the quiz though, again, there's not real strict rules on it, but it should be your own work. Again, it's kind of signifying to yourself that you know what's going on.
when do you finish grades? So,
On a weekly basis, I try to do it on a weekly basis. I haven't done anything yet because, but Wednesday we'll start in, and some of you will be completing things, and some of you, at least 2 people already. No, no. You get them done when it fits in your schedule. You're never early. You're never late. Maybe you're early, but never late. Nobody's ever late. And there's no late penalties because you can't be late. And what I'll do is usually on the weekends, early Saturday morning, I wake up because I got into the place where I can't sleep in anymore. It's a terrible thing. That was one of my favorite things is to sleep in until like noon on Saturdays, but I can't do it anymore. I'm waking up at 6 in the morning, so I got to do something. So I grade math stuff. So I do that transfer over usually about once a week. And some students will say on Sunday night, I just got caught up on a bunch of stuff. Can you update it? I said, well, you got to wait till next Saturday because it's just one of those things where it's tedious and I make mistakes if I don't do it all at the same time.
So if you got it done during a certain day, then we'll have to wait until that weekend.
Yeah, it'll show up in Canvas, but just, you did it. It's in there and it will get updated. If you're, and towards the end of the semesters, I'll get students who maybe got behind and then they're concerned about their grades. I will start updating more often as we get close to those kind of things for those issues. But, you stay right on track. About weekly, you'll see the updates and yeah, don't worry. Focus on the learning. Let me worry about the grades. Okay. And if you learn, you learn at the level of an A, you will get the A. We'll figure out a way to make that happen. And I know different assessments sometimes, it doesn't work. You understand, but it didn't show it. We'll find a way. So far, so good. Okay. So that's, if you've done anything in Math AS, again, you're ahead because we're going to start into this. I'll work through it. I'll even pull up some of the questions. We have about a day and a half for everything the way I've got it lined up. Isn't that about right? Let's see, what does our course syllabus say? And that's the main thing is kind of look at the course syllabus as a suggested schedule. Let's see, where are we? There's our syllabus. And most of the syllabus, I mean, it's got the grading. This is the main part you want to have. So we're going to do connecting to algebraic arithmetic and algebra. So Wednesday, we get into Unit 1 itself. We got a full day of it. And then the following Monday, we do a little bit of Unit 1, a little bit of Unit 2. We just that's kind of we figure out where we're at, and we got a full day for Unit 2. So we get chances to work through some of the homework problems, because I find using working problems is a good way to learn, because a lot of what we're doing is sort of skill-based stuff. You just need to learn how to do the problems. And so let's just do a lot of problems. Let's explain what's going on too, but let's do it while we're working problems. So you see how problems are worked. You see how when you get stuck, how to get unstuck, all those kind of things. So as you do either work ahead or there, that's the benefit. If you get engaged in it early, you can come with questions and say, hey, that number 13, I couldn't figure it out. We'll pull up question 13. We'll figure it out together. And the nice thing with Math AS, when I pull up a question from Math AS here, the question you're going to get is slightly different. The numbers are randomized. So you'll still get a fresh try to work it, but you'll have a pattern for working them. You'll say, oh, this is the template. This is how it's done. Okay, I just have slightly different numbers. I put my numbers in there, and this is how it's done. All right. And then we're all shooting for this week of February 19th. We have a full review, and notice 2 days of review for the exam. I'll give you a practice test. One, and I think I've got at least 2 practice tests I can give you. One will be very similar to the test itself, so you'll know what the test is going to be like. Same thing, but different numbers, multiple choice. The other one will be a little bit maybe more conceptual basis, so that you can put all the pieces together. But definitely, by the time you come in to take that test, you will be well prepared, and you'll know what that test is going to be looking like. You'll have seen a different version of it, so no surprises. And if you get to the point where you get there and it's just not, you're just not feeling it, and you need a little extra time, let me know. And again, I would rather wait a day or two, give you till Friday, whatever it needs to be happen, we'll talk about it, have you take it to the testing center or something. I'd rather have you pass it the first time than to take it when you're not ready and not feeling good, and such. And as we go forward, there's some of you may get ahead, and maybe you want to take it sooner. We can make that happen too. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So did I showed you the 2-digit multiplication? Did I? To get a free meal? You want to get a free meal? No, not yet. Gonna try it though, right? I mean, you gotta try it on someone. I know sometimes I go out, like Dad's taking me out for lunch. He always paid for lunch when he's around, and so I knew I was getting a free lunch anyway. Then I could pull these things on him, so it always works. Okay, let's see. There's 2 things I want to talk to you about then, and let's switch to here. Switch back so we don't have to worry too much about that. If I say the word operation, what does that mean? That one needs an operation, doesn't it? So does that one. No tips on these. What are they doing here? I have to throw them away. Operation. What's an operation? PEMDAS. What's a PEMDAS? Order of operations. Okay, good. So we know what they are. Add, subtract, multiply, and divide. But if I told you that that's too many operations, that some of those operations are really the same operations with different names. What if I told you in math there are really only 2 operations? Would you believe me? No, because everyone else says there's 4 or 5. Okay, so when we count, what do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's counting. When we add, what are we doing?
Numbers. Adding or adding.
Taking two numbers. So that's one thing we need is when we have an operation, we need two numbers. You can't do an operation on one number. You can't. Well, maybe you can, but we won't talk about that yet. We need two numbers. And so for addition, we take our two numbers, and the act of adding is simply to bring them together. So they were separate, 2 and 3. We add them, and that's just like putting them in one group. And then we're counting how many we have. Okay, so one of the operations is addition. And so 3 plus 5 is 8. Very good. Okay, so be comfortable with addition. It's taking 2, and so you could 3, and then you could just add on. There's multiple ways to do it, but that's one of our operations. Now, why does Little Crow say that subtraction's not a real operation? Because couldn't we take 5 minus 3? And what's the operation of 5 minus 3? You got 5 things, and it's sort of the takeaway. So notice it is sort of different than adding. Adding was bringing two things together. Takeaway is sort of starting with one thing and taking a certain amount away from it. Subtraction. But if I want to be very efficient, couldn't I have also said that 5 minus 3, I can get that same answer by thinking of, instead of subtraction, thinking of 5 plus negative 3. Would this not give me the same answer? Indeed, it does. In a sense, we actually maybe mentally we're doing exactly the same thing, but I want to tell you why it's a better way when we're doing algebra, especially, to think of subtraction as adding the opposite. What can we do with addition that we can't do with subtraction? We can reverse them, because we could take negative 3 plus 5 and we still have 2. But we can't say 3 minus 5, because if we no longer have 2, we've got negative 2. So the magnitude is the same, but the sign changes. So we run into these issues with subtraction. So as we start doing algebra, it's actually not only more efficient to think of a subtraction as adding the opposite, it's also going to save our answer sometime, or save us from getting the wrong answer when we're just, because we switch the orders maybe incorrectly. Okay, so as we go forward, you're going to see me talking a lot about everything as addition, and really, when I think of subtraction, I'm always going to think of it as adding a negative number. Okay, and I got a little sheet that goes through this because it makes it nice and easy. So when I think of signed numbers, so there's a positive 3, a positive 5. What if I had a negative 3 plus a negative 5? Again, I'm always thinking of addition. What happens here? What do we end up with? Negative 8. This is truly, it's like I owe $3 and then I go borrow another $5. So I'm in debt more. So yes, this is going to be a negative 8. Notice I just added the quantities. So when the signs are the same, the operation we do is we add. But over here, I was still doing what we call addition. But to get my answer, I didn't really add, did I? I really subtracted. So when the signs are opposite, that's when we do the subtraction. So we do the two operations, one addition, one subtraction. But what we do in our writing is we think of everything as addition. So when the signs are opposite, we subtract. If we switch it around and we think of this as 3 plus a negative 5, we're still going to subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2, but the larger number has a negative sign on it, so that's when it's going to be negative. Okay, so the rules for working with, again, addition with opposite signs, that's when I do the subtraction part, but I take the sign of the larger number. So negative 3 plus 5, the 5 is larger in magnitude, so the answer is going to be positive. Positive 5, positive 2. 3 plus 5, the 5 again is larger in magnitude, and it's negative, so it's going to be more negative. So the answer will be negative. Okay. This gets past a lot of issues. And again, some of you have this and some of you don't. Some of you have figured a way to deal with positive and negative signs, addition and subtraction. And if you have and you're comfortable with it, go ahead and stick with it. You don't have to follow this. But if you struggle, I'm going to suggest this. So, do I have a volunteer? Volunteer for what? Pass out some forms, that's all. Not going to make you disappear, pull a rabbit out of your hat or anything. So you just kind of. I loved it one time I had somebody that got up and they said, I'll volunteer, and then they assigned somebody else to do it for them. That was real delegation. So, okay. So that's one operation, addition. And I've got this, actually, let me pull it up. I have it, this is in Canvas for you. And it looks a little bit better, I think, because it's got the colors in there. Positives blue and negatives are red. So maybe it stands out. But when we're doing a problem where the signs of the two numbers or that we're doing, when they're the same, then we just add, okay? When the signs are opposite, one's negative, one's positive, then that's when we subtract, okay? And again, as we get in, this is going to hit up to us probably about lesson 3. When we start solving equations, we'll start using some of this, and if you struggle, that's where you're going to hit it. So that's why I want to kind of get a little bit of jump on things so that by the time we get to lesson 3, you've at least had an alternate way to look at things. And then instead of getting separate rules for subtraction, and most books will spend a day or a page talking about the process of addition, and I really haven't highlighted anything different than a textbook would highlight. This is pretty much what they would do, maybe a little bit longer, wordier, but basically if the signs are the same, just add them, take the sign of the number. If the signs are opposite, subtract, and then take the sign of the larger magnitude number. Okay. Subtraction, though, what they'll do is they'll spend a whole nother page, and what you'll find is the rules for subtraction are backwards from the rules of addition, because subtraction is a backwards operation. And this is where, if you work really hard to understand the rules of addition, you now lose it all because now you've got to learn it backwards, or something. You know, you lose your intuition. So what I say is, instead of talking about rules of subtraction, just turn subtraction to addition. Okay, so that's what this page is for. And what you'll see is every subtraction problem, all you have to do is change the subtraction to a plus and change the number to the right of it, the one right behind it, to an opposite sign. So if I've got a positive 5 minus a positive 3, that's the same thing as a positive 5 plus a negative 3, adding the opposite. If I take a positive 5, subtract a negative 3, all I think of that is I'm going to become a plus a positive 3, okay, adding the opposite. Okay, negative 5 minus positive 3, add the opposite. Okay, and then I'm just back to my rules that I learned with addition. And again, this is one of those things with me, if you've got a little bit of dyslexia or a lot of dyslexia, where you're switching things anyway, learning two different sets of rules which kind of contradict each other, that's what can make math just a mess. So what I do is learn the rules of addition, treat subtraction as adding the opposite. So don't do this, do this. Now, sometimes writing this is weird, so we do this, but think it. Again, whatever you want to do. So you'll find your ways that work for you. Some of you will write it down. Some of it, when you write it, it looks so weird, you're not quite sure what to do with it anymore, but we'll find our way. Okay, but if we think of everything as really, that's just one operation instead of two. And it really works with algebra because now we're going to be able to move terms around very easily because everything will be addition. Or the other operation that we need is what? One more operation. There, you got it. With addition and multiplication, we have everything we need in math. Just those two things. Okay, and I'll show you that. So we'll take 3 times 5. And that's what? 15, yeah. So that's 15. The process of multiplication, you're actually multiplying. So you're taking 3 things, making 5 copies of them, or 5 things and making 3 copies. So it's different than addition. Addition, we're just bringing things together. Multiplication, we're actually manufacturing stuff. It's kind of cool. So we got our 15. But watch what happens. Let's take the same fact family. If I take 15 divided by 3. Sometimes I've just memorized that. So what's the answer? 5. What if I, instead of using division, what if well, let me take one step back. What if I asked you to take 15 divided by 1/3? What's our rule for dividing with fractions? How do we divide with fractions? Flip the second and multiply. When we got fractions, we don't use division. We never really, I guess we use it a little, but we just say, take the first one, leave it as it is, flip the second one, and change it to multiplication. We've been doing this for years, right? So we started off with fractions. Instead of thinking what it means to divide by a fraction, we just say, oh, it's easier, just flip it and multiply. Okay, so 15 times 3, 45. Watch this. Just flip it and multiply, right? So let's take 15 times 1/3. And what you'll see is the rule for multiplying with fractions. You multiply straight across. It still gives us sort of 15 over 3, which is 15 divided by 3. So we will use the division key on our calculator, but we could get by without it. If we could just make a fraction, if we could take 15 times 1/3, we'd get exactly the same answer of 5. Okay. Again, if we think of in terms of only multiplication, what can we do with multiplication that we can't do with division? Same rule here. Division is not commutative. We can't change this order. 15 divided by 3, that's going to give us 5. But 3 divided by 15 is not 5. It's something else. It's 1/5, 0.2, I think, right? It's going to give us 0.2. But multiplication, we can change the order on it. Okay? So here's the thing is that there's really only 2 rules we need. We need to know how to add, and we need to know how to multiply. And then the rest will fall into place. And you'll see when we get to lesson 3, we'll be dealing with fractions. The way we'll deal with it is we'll multiply by the reciprocal. So just think that's the same thing as dividing by the fraction. So there's times where we'll just skirt the division problem. There's times when we'll use it just for the sake of ease, and I get you. 15 divided by 3 equals 5. That's a lot easier to think of than 15 times 1/3. This is more complicated. It's like complicating the problem. But I just want to show you it's possible to do it. over here, 15 divided by 1/3, this is the case where it's going to be easier to turn it to multiplication. There'll be times when it's easier to leave it as division, and we'll do that. Because remember our tricks from India, what they did is they tried to find the easier ways to do it, not just one way, but find multiple ways. And if in this case, if this was easier, they'd do this. In another case, if that was easier, they'd do that. So part of it is, yes, we'll learn a few little different tricks that are different, but hopefully each one in their case will make the process smoother and easier. So far, so good. So what would PEMDAS look like with only these two operations? Well, we still have the parentheses. It's not really an operation, but we can group it and change the order. Oh, why didn't I say we need exponents? Right? Because actually in this class, we don't deal with exponents. That's all in the next class. But if we needed them, what does an exponent do?
Multiply.
It's really it's repeated multiplication. So that's why I said we don't really even need exponents. It's just it's a convenience that maybe makes it faster. If this was like 3 to the 5th, it might be easier to put it in the calculator 3 raised to the 5th power, but I could also get it 3 times 3 times 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I can get every math answer I need with multiplication or addition. And if you'll turn it over, let's see, we go down here to the second page, it gives the rules for multiplication and division, and basically they're the same. So in multiplication and division, you're always doing the operation, multiplying, or multiplying by the reciprocal if we want to think of it that way. But whenever the signs are the same, we get a positive value. And it's kind of weird. We understand that with a positive times a positive should be positive, but why is a negative times a negative positive? You're taking away a negative is really what's happening. When you take away a negative, what do you have? Positive. Doesn't that make sense? Yeah. And so that's kind of cool. The other way I like to think about it, you put two positive people together, they're sitting next to each other, what happens? Happiness, because they're both having a good day, they talk to each other. But watch it, you put two negative people together, they actually become very happy because they complain about everything, but you put a positive person next to a negative person, not a good thing. The negative person, the positive person's got this frown on them. They've been brought down by the negative person. That's what always happens. So when we got a negative and positive, that's why we get a negative. It doesn't matter which order it's in. Negative and opposite signs, we not happy anymore. But same signs, we're happy. If we're in a bad mood, we want to complain. We want to sit next to someone we can complain with that can, that's not trying to make us be happy. We want to be, Anyway, these type of things. Just think of it. This one is I don't worry about too much. Most people have this rule down. The problem is they will apply these math rules for multiplication to addition, which is not going to work. They'll see you're adding two negatives and they say that's a positive. No, that's only when we're multiplying. It's a totally different process. Two negatives when multiplied give you a positive. But when you add two negative numbers together, what happens? You get more negative because you're just adding them together. Okay. And again, if you do struggle with this, and I've had people in this class that have serious issues with this, and that one lady, she came in about 3 times separately on her own for tutoring and such, and she worked her way through it. But it was each time she'd make a little progress and then she'd regress, because the thing is we memorize the wrong rules sometimes, or we memorize it in an unhelpful way. And unlearning things is maybe almost impossible, but we have to learn something new on top of it. It's just like me. I made up my own flashcards. 7 times 8, I still sometimes want to say it's 54 because that's what my flashcards told me, and I memorized that wrong. So we'll work with it though. But by the end, she found her rhythm, and she developed it a little bit. And Actually, it was that semester that I came up with these rules, and they were a little bit more complicated, but with working with her, we simplified them down a little bit. We adapted them, and by the end of it, I think it's served well a lot of students. Okay, so that's the main thing I want to. Now, what's the other thing I want to talk? Okay, only two operations. There's your signs. That's how to work with the signs. Geez, what else should we do? That's all I brought with me. No questions?
So this will help like understand like the rules for it when we have negative numbers, when we have positive numbers.
Exactly. Okay. Oh, I forgot about the uh, PIMDOS. So we don't really need exponents, but we'll put it there. Oops. Let's see. We'll put the exponents, and then you've got multiplication, and then you've got addition. So notice how compact the PIMDOS rules become. Do parentheses first, next do exponents, because the reason we have to do exponents before multiplication is because it's repeated multiplication. It's got many multiplications in there. Then we multiply, then we add. And again, we don't have to talk about subtraction because subtraction is built into addition. It's just adding the opposite. Okay, so we change all our subtraction to addition. We don't have to talk about division because it's just multiplying by the reciprocal. So if we do that, it's all good. And again, what it's going to allow us to do as we go through problems is to streamline what we're going through, and we're going to be able to pretty much move things around in whatever order we want to have them done. Okay, I've got one more trick for you. Did I show you how to multiply really big numbers quickly in your head? So here's a, did I?
3-digit or?
Yeah, did I, let's see, did I show you? Did I show you this one?
Yeah.
I did. That was too easy. Okay. Okay. We talked about complements though, right? Complements of a number, how they complete to 10. So let me, because I want to take about, I don't want to send you home too early, but I want to do something in about 15 minutes time. And then anyone who hasn't registered for Math AS, if you want some help, or if you have and you want any help, we'll have some open time to go over that. Oh, since I showed you that one, let's do this. Since you already are experts at the 3-digit multiplication, let me do this one. How would we do this one? Well, maybe we forgot. Let's try this one. 998, 997. How did we, does anyone remember how we did this? I showed you, but. Okay, so we looked at how far away from 1,000 they were. So this one is missing 2 more and it would be 1,000. This one's missing 3 more and it would be 1,000. What we did is we multiplied 2 times 3 and gets us 6. But since it's close to 1,000, 1,000 has how many zeros? 3. So every answer has to have 3 digits. So we make that 006. That's 3 digits. To get the front part of the answer, that's the back part of the answer. To get the front part of the answer, we cross subtracted. So either 997 minus 2, which gives us 995, or 998 minus 3, which is also 995. So the answer to 998,997 is 99506. And this one you could check on your calculator. It's not so large that it's going to overload your calculator. So my question is this is very similar, but how is this different than this?
Just multiply the first number on the bottom right and then add zeros.
What do you mean by that? I think you're out to the right thing.
So working from the right to the left would be 4202 and then million.
So take this 2 times all of this.
And then just add how many zeros. It's like multiplied by.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, that would work. But I want to show you another. How can we do it in similar fashion to this?
12 away at the top
Okay.
right from 1,000, and 2 away on the bottom.
But this time we're not missing 2 or 12. We have an additional. So we have a surplus. I'm going to put a plus here. Okay, so we're above. But you're right. We're going to multiply these back to. So 2 times 12, 24. And you're right, we're going to fill in some zeros because it needs to have the 3 zeros. But notice here we cross subtracted, right? What do you think we're going to do here? We're going to do addition. So 102 plus 12 or 112 plus 2, both of them will give us this. So it's 1,000,014 and 24. Okay. So again, in India, this was the same system. As long as it's close to a base, if it's below the base, you find the difference. You find the deficiencies, they call these. Multiply the deficiencies, and then cross subtract. If it's above the base, you find the surpluses, multiply the surpluses, and then cross add to find where we're at. What if they're different? What if one's above and one's below? One's above and one's below. So let's stretch ourselves. We'll do 1008 and we'll do 997. So the same process. I guess it's getting a little bit into sort of algebraic thinking, flexibility. It's not going to be on the test, so don't worry too much. Okay, plus 8 on the top. That's exactly right. We're missing 3 on the bottom. So what do we do with the surplus and a deficiency? We multiply. What do we get when we multiply? Positive times a negative is
Positive. Oh, negative.
opposite. So it's actually negative 24. And actually, I'll put the 0 in there. This is where the difficulty comes in a little bit. So, and then what do we get on the front? Well, either 997 plus 8 or 1008 minus 3. Either way, we get this number. Now, it's a weird way to write numbers because this is what we now need to do is subtract 24 from this 5. And this is where, again, if you were doing Vedic math, you would practice the subtraction part. There's a whole method of doing the subtraction, and they can do it in their head. What's 5,000 minus 24? I think it's going to be about 4,976. Thank you. And there's a way to do the subtraction in your head that it's just, you're just flowing through doing all of this, and then the rest. Yeah. And so this is a challenging one, but it's good practice because you get this, this can all be done with complements. Complements of a number, complements to 10, complements to 9. Yeah. And what I'm playing with this is just sort of a little bit of an advertisement. Later this semester, I'm planning, I did this last spring. My wife and I did about a 2-hour workshop on mindful math where I'll teach you how to mindfully subtract two numbers, just kind of like this. And it doesn't feel like subtraction. You'll start to get where you just see this number, you see this number, digit by digit, you do complementing or whatever needs to be done, and you're just writing down answers. It comes from something I just was practicing because I was bored. So I do this Vedic math not because I thought it was of any use, except that I wanted something different to do. And at a doctor's office, I was sitting and I saw two numbers, and actually I needed to subtract them, and I started writing down the answers with the Vedic system. If you use this way we were taught with just borrowing, it's really difficult to do without paper and pencil. But with the Vedic system, it's not only easy once you get used to it, it's actually therapeutic. It's kind of like a meditation. I just felt it would unwind my day instead of
Kind of reminds me a little bit of like cribbage counting.
In fact, actually, good. Yes, I had a champion cribbage player, and I showed him some of this, and
It's a rhythm when you're playing cribbage.
yes,
Counting rhythm.
yeah. So I didn't quite use 15 minutes, but that's kind of the trick that happened. So what we'll do is on Wednesday we will actually start fresh into Unit 1 as if it were day 1 of the class. So if someone had missed everything, you're still fine. So nobody is behind. Wednesday is really the start of the course content. But if you've been coming and interacting with this stuff, the hope is that you've gotten rid of maybe some negative baggage of the ways that you looked at math, and now you got some creative ways to look at it, and that's what the goal is. And we'll keep you moving forward. We'll keep you successful, um, and we'll keep it fun. Okay. Word of the day: wisdom. Or if you got it in Pali, you want to know the word for wisdom in Pali? Punya. It's a 1,000-year-old language. It's been dead. Nobody else speaks it. But
What is it in English?
oh, I don't know. That's good. I got a dictionary. I can look it up.
You could look it up.
I'll bring it to you
I'm just
next.
curious,
I'll say
that's all.
it. Very good. Thank you, guys.